Hey you. Yeah, you. Would you?
Be interested in a trade agreement with England.
In Civ 6, trade routes have been the mainstay of the series since Brave New World for Civilization 5. Traders provide yields by trading food and production throughout your own cities, and leeching culture and science from other civs, like some dude's succubus fantasy. But in this video, we'll take a look at 5 mistakes made in Civ 6 when it comes to trade routes and why they're so common. Like and subscribe if you do enjoy to not miss out on future content, and let me know some other tips down below in the comments. Let's start off with a good tip that'll get the masses riled up in the comment section down below. Trade routes early game suck. They suck harder than YouTube music videos, and for that reason, building them early on is a waste of gold in production, as you can be using the yields to build builders, settlers, units, which are infinitely more valuable in the early game. You get a whopping, just wait a minute, 1 food and 1 production from domestic trade routes in the early game. Now, despite your thoughts that 1 food isn't going to be the difference between having Western and North Korean food supplies, so you can take solace in the fact it isn't that bad. The only time a trade route would be worth it that early on is if you're so far behind in science that the AI is already like 9 to 12 techs ahead of you, or you're playing Russia, or you got Kumasai or a gold city-state as your lapdog. The yields you get from trade routes pale in comparison to what you could be doing with that production, as the most important part of the game is the early game, which can spell the difference between success and failure every game. A builder can build 3 different tiles, and that would always be more than 1 food, 1 production, which is all you're getting from trade routes, and potentially 3 gold if another civ settles a city near you. And trade routes until a certain point really don't provide anything else, as a lot of the times you will be stuck with domestic trade routes for around the first 50 turns because other cities are too far away for you to send your trader. You should get trade routes after building some districts, as each one gives you either food or production when the yields become worth it. Now, despite me putting early game trade routes 6 feet under, I can change my mind based on evidence, unlike moms on Facebook. And Big Daddy Rockefeller is that evidence. Magnus provides 2 food from trade routes ending in the city he's stationed in, as the now 3 food 1 production is enough to invest in a trade route in another city to your capital. While your capital uses Magnus's provision skills to make settlers out of thin air like it was England during the Age of Discovery. Magnus's yields only get better as after a couple of districts in your capital, the trade routes is even more tantalizing than German scientists were to these nations after the Second World War. Although the problem is that you will have to spend at least 2 promotions, usually 3, in order to get Magnus leveled up enough to carry your game on his back, you will need to beeline PP and ignore Pingala and Amani while you focus on decking out Magnus with all his new gear. The bonus is even better though, as your capital gets a 20% bonus to food in that same promotion for trade routes, which means in your capital city, you will be getting a 20% food increase while providing other cities' trade routes with 2 extra foods. So even if that 2 food really loses its luster later on in the game, you can still put Magnus in struggling cities to at least get enough population to build all the districts you need. The thing most people forget and ignore about trade routes is how strategic they can be. Whether you start near Montezuma or are Montezuma, building roads through strategic cities should be your main priority, as you can either build a faster logistics supply for defense or for some good old-fashioned war crimes. A road will help you move your units faster, which is especially helpful for swordsmen, rushes, or siege units to get into position ASAP. And the reinforcement speed lets you bring all your reinforcements to battle faster than the winged hussars flank the Ottomans. With the right roads built into the mid and late game, you can pull out that silly mustache and even blitzkrieg your way to that last capital you need for a domination victory. Now, even if that specific city isn't the best to send a trade route towards, remember, you're not doing this so much for the yields. You're doing this for strategic gains, whether to set up a better defense network or to set up a better offensive network to get your troops in position faster. So even if you do sacrifice some of the early game yields you could be making by sending this trade route to another city, think of the potential of surprising the enemy AI like Hannibal surprised the Romans after crossing the Alps. Early game is all about speed, especially in a domination victory, as you're essentially in a ticking time bomb with swordsmen and battering rams until the AI secures crossbowmen or walls if you're using horsemen. So the best strategy early on with trade routes in a domination victory is to plan out your attack, or if you have a nearby enemy ready to absolutely goatsy you, you can plan out a system of defense so that no matter whether you're going offense or defense, you will be able to move your troops faster, which can be the difference between winning and losing wars. In the late game, your traders have one purpose and one purpose only, for culture at least, and that is tourism. That's right, where did you think the AI was getting your rock music and blue jeans from? All civs with a trade route with you get a modifier of 25% from our empire. So if you're making 1,000 tourism, you will be making 1,250 tourism towards that specific civ. That is a huge amount, and you're really giving up hundreds, if not upwards of 1,000 free tourism, as you can cut your culture victory time by maybe up to even 50 turns with just one trade route. Now, these routes don't stack, so you can't send 8 traders to get a 200% boost, so you really want one per empire to maximize tourism, while sending your other traders anywhere else. You should be doing this, but not too early, as until you start getting a large enough amount of tourism, you're really wasting your time and are better off going for specific yields. I guess since we're deeper into the topic of culture victory than a college date after some Netflix, we might as well say for culture, you want a good portion of your traders in cities that are building wonders. Like, for example, sending everyone into the city that's building Bolshoi Theater and getting some policy cards for trade, and we can cut maybe even half the time required for the wonder with enough trade routes, which can be the difference between actually getting the wonder or the workers packing up and leaving after they heard some nation across the globe completed a similar wonder, and more than one is just unfathomable. Now, this next tip might seem like more of an economy-focused one instead of just traders, but stay with me for a second. Great merchants are the runt of the litter. When you think of great people, you think of great scientists, engineers, writers, even great general, and no one gives a damn about great merchants. Like, what are you gonna do? Give me 2 envoys and 100 gold? Nah, give me Isaac Newton over there. But some great merchants are a lot more valuable than even some scientists for a couple of reasons. The main one being some bonuses they give, like extra trader slots, allow you to build more traders, which over the course of the game can provide more benefits than even great scientists. If over the course of a game, a trader gives you on average 10 gold, 3 science, 3 culture, 5 food and production per turn, that is a lot better than, for example, the potential 2 Eurekas and 1 inspiration you'd get from some great scientists. It really is. Even in the mid to late game, if you get someone that gets science from mountains or rainforests, how much are you really gonna get off that? 500? 1,000? If you have an early game trader for around 150 turns, multiply that by 3, you're making 450 science off that trader, not even mentioning the other yields you'd get in the process. Finally, and most importantly, the AI is lacking the simple brain mass us humans have, and due to that, cannot plan out too far ahead. As the monkey brain goes, can campus now, holy site now, no spot for commercial hub. After my poor attempt at a joke, let me just say that commercial hubs are the latest district you can get on the tech tree, and as the AI, they will mostly build whatever districts they can get immediately. If they see holy site spots, campus spots, encampment spots, even industrial zone spots available, they'll have no room or limited room for the band's district. Since you're the only one going for more money than Steph's jump shot, you'll be the only one making these great merchant points, leading to you being the only person getting great merchants. Check out your last game. When was the first time a great merchant was taken? Definitely not for a long time after commercial hubs started coming out, and way after when you would see great engineers, scientists, and great writers even going to the AI. Unless the AI is playing Mali or something and wants to beeline their Suguba district, they will just use up all their district slots like high schoolers use their first paycheck, and they'll have nothing left for the future. This should give you all the great merchants you need, which is a lot of potential envoys, money, traders, while building a district you were going to get anyway because traders are just that powerful. All of this and all the traders you could be getting will change your game just as much as any other great person, so let's start showing a little bit of respect to these great merchants as well. Now, I decided to put another tip at the end of the video because I think 13 minutes is a perfect time for a video, but it is a super secret, it's literally just trade routes in Mongolia. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mongolia gets a bonus where they found a trading post immediately after sending a trader, which number 1 gives them a lot more gold, and number 2 lets them make use of their double diplomatic visibility combat bonus. So as Mongolia, before every war, if you send out a trader to go ahead and do some trade post construction in enemy cities, then you will be able to, in the early game, get a +6 total combat strength bonus as long as you don't accept a delegation from the AI. So when you finally go for that horseman rush, your horseman will be at 42 to 43 combat strength, which is insane in the early game. It'll literally be like having 4 movement speed man at arms in the early game, while the enemy probably has, at most, a couple swordsmen and an archer or 2. This isn't really a secret strategy, I guess, as the only thing Genghis likes more than sleeping with every woman alive is conquering the world, but I thought it would be prudent to talk about it just because it seems like something everyone would forget at one time or another. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to not miss out on future content, and let me know down below what exactly you want to see next, and your thoughts about the video. Without further ado, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.